Hey guys, welcome back. I have another Viseart Petite Fool video for you today, and I'm taking Lapis and Garnet to create a look, one look with each of these palettes. I also have a handful of comparisons which I will swatch for you guys at the end. If you haven't already seen my initial video on these little palettes, there are actually 4 of them. They were released specifically for the holiday. And in that video, I have swatches of all 4, and I picked one Peridot to create a look with. And I have another one here. This is Bullion. If you want to see the swatches for each one of them and another demo of one of these palettes, definitely go check out the other video. I'll have it in the description below. So let's just get started with one of the palettes. I'm going to take Lapis first and create a look on my right eye. I'm taking Night Owl and placing that generously on the lid. Then I'm going to buff the shade out and upwards towards the middle of the lid. Taking 19th, I'm placing that onto the crease. And also right above Night Owl. Going into Blue Moon here, and I'm using that shade to even out the crease. I like to add back a little bit more blue, Night Owl. So I'm just going in here and applying it, slightly patting onto the center of the lid, and a light diffuse, and work that shade further into 19th. Taking Bauhaus, this silver shade, I'm going to put that on the inner corner. And I'm going to tap the excess off and just gently move it further up the lid. Very bright shade. Going back into Night Owl, I'm using this to tightline under the eyes. Going in with the classic crease, I'm actually going to apply a little bit of Night Owl, but I'm really just looking to diffuse it further outer into the corners and bring some of that onto the lower lash line because I want the end here to be smokier. Moving on to the left eye, I'm placing this shade Cordial all over the lids. And I'm diffusing this much more than I did with Night Owl. I'm adding Cabaret to the outer corners. And I'm blending out Cabaret. Using Fidette, I'm going to add that right here, starting from the inner corner and upwards. Going into Pagel, I'm using that to soften this line right here. And because Cordial is still our center focus shade, I'm going back in with a finger and adding it on top of the middle of the lid. And going back in, I'm just going to diffuse this a bit more right here. And I'm going to take Vidette and adding more of that just along right here to brighten things up. And I'm going to take this shade onto the lower lash line. And with a wet brush, I'm going back into Cordial. I'm using the shade as a upper lash liner. I'm also then going to bring this on the, just right here in the corner, connecting the bottom and the top. I'm going to add mascara off camera, then we'll come back for the rest of the look. For cheeks, I'm taking Victoria Beckham's Cheeky Posh Cream Blush. This is in the shade Knickers. And I'm just looking for a soft pink because the focus is on the eyes today. For lips, I'm taking Wayne Goss's lipstick in a satin finish. This is Magnolia. These are the finished looks, and this silver is definitely the most eye-catching. It is the first thing I see when I look into the camera, and it is a beautiful bright silver. So it's going to be the first shade I'm going to find comparisons and to swatch against. So this is the silver from Viseart. I'm going to take Natasha Denona's Circle Loco palette, and I'm going to swatch against Snow Cone. It's obvious that Snow Cone is not the same. It has a blue-green undertone, but I do believe it is as bright as this silver from Viseart Bauhaus. Then I'm taking YSL's Sound Illusion Quint, and we'll take a look at this silver. I'll apply one more application. And I'm going to go into Bauhaus again to build or apply a second application so you guys can see. Then taking Dior's Black Knight. This is from their last year's holiday collection. And I'll apply 2 applications. Four silvery shades, all 4 are different from each other. The YSL one is the lightest in pigmentation. It is also the most powdery in formula. And then I would say followed by Viseart. The Viseart's is still very creamy, and as you can see, it was very easy to apply and to diffuse. You get a lot from just one swipe. Natasha Denona is the only swatch here that I only went in once. So the creamiest metallic is from Natasha Denona. And then for Dior, also very creamy, is generally a little bit softer, a little bit less pigmented when we compare them against other brands. Moving on to Garnet, I have my eye on this coppery shade here, or bronzy shade. This is 19th. Very foil-like. And I'll apply a second application. Isn't that beautiful? This shade too, you can easily put all over your lids. It's stunning. Then I'm taking Natasha Denona's Bronze Age from her nude palette. And this is a single swatch or a single swipe. And then from Pat McGrath, her Celestial Divinity palette, this shade here, Bronze. I'm going to swatch that. And I will go in for a second application for Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath. Finally, going into Natasha Denona's Bronze palette, I'm taking Alloy. And one more application. All of these are different, and while the Pat McGrath Bronze and 19th may look similar, there's actually a bit more red in this shade, and this one is a bit deeper in comparison, and I would say this looks more bronzy and this looks more coppery if you were to put the two side by side. With the Natasha Denona mini nude palette and her bronze palette, you guys can see the difference there. For a last comparison, I'm taking Night Owl. How could we miss this blue? We've got to talk a bit more about it before we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous blue. Very easy to diffuse. And the depth of the shade, as you diffuse it, it gives you more dimension, and I love that because it makes it easy to put together a look to work with. This is not something I would use in the daytime, this shade here, because it's a bright, deep blue, but the moment you try to diffuse and make it lighter, it just makes your look more smoky. So it's great if that's what you're trying to do, that's what you're going for, but it's not something I find, you know, at least for me, that I would use it in the daytime. So this is definitely a going out in the evening, having some drinks with friends. Like, this is very, or even a party, of course, a very, very beautiful palette. Going first into Pat McGrath, I'm taking this shade here, Hypnotique, and this is from her Interstellar Icon Quad. Going back in for a second application. Next is Tom Ford's Metallic Denim. I'm taking this shade here. Then back to Dior's Black Knight. This shade here is a blue. So let's take a look at that. I think it's obvious this one's going to be, or is, the deepest. And then last but not least, we have Natasha Denona from her Circle Loco palette. This shade here, Electric. Let's go in for a second application. I surprisingly don't have anything in my collection that's really too similar to Night Owl. I am surprised, and I wonder if I missed any palettes because it's such a familiar blue. And again, I really like this blue, but I thought I had something that might come close to it. I guess not. I mean, if you guys think of something, let me know. I'll see if I have it, and I'll post a comparison on community tab or Instagram. So all of these are very different, but they all have, you know, noticeable blue undertone to it. This shade here from Pat McGrath is a dual chrome. It does shift purple. When it comes to the texture, how creamy these shades are, the creamiest is going to be Natasha Denona's, followed by Viseart, and then I would say Dior's Dark Knight, the shade, then Pat McGrath, and last is going to be Tom Ford's Metallic Denim. If I had to pick a favorite blue shade, it's going to be Viseart's, because I just like how when you blend it out, it gives you that smokiness, something that you would probably see from, say, this, you know, Tom Ford Metallic Denim. But it also is undeniably blue, and it's bright in itself for that type of, I guess, tone. So I really like this. And if you don't blend it out very much, you're gonna get this shade here, which is what makes it really beautiful. This blue is just so different from the rest. I would be creating a completely different look if I were to use this blue. So this is gonna be my favorite, and this one, a close second, but it's a totally different look if I were to use it. So I took another peek at my collection to see if I missed any blue eyeshadows, palettes. I did find Dior's Denim palette. We might have something similar, probably not in texture, but maybe in tone and that glittery finish and also the smokiness of the shade. And the swatch does not look great. What an awkward position. Not similar. This is, I would say, a slate color, a lot of gray in it. When it comes to texture too, Viseart's is creamier. Dior's, it's pigmented, but the concentration of pigment is typically a little less than, say, Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, and Viseart Metallics. So it's just a different kind of approach to makeup that they have. But I think that is it when it comes to the blues in my collection. I think we've covered all of it here. Well, if I had to pick a favorite between Lapis or Garnet, it's tough, but I'm gonna go with Lapis because it's just so eye-catching and I love a good blue shadow, blue eye look. I also love a good silver and we have exactly that combination. It's just so party ready, it's eye-catching. I mean, it's just very holidays. But Garnet is great to have in this collection because overall it's a warmer palette than Lapis. So in the Petite Fool, the 4 different color stories, there's really something for everybody. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm gonna come back and probably do a look with Bullion. I don't know that it would be a dedicated video. This is a very straightforward color story, but very beautiful. In fact, it reminds me of Chanel's Factory No. 5 kind of anniversary edition, Quint? Is it Quint or Quad? Quad that they came out with, and I didn't pick that up, but when I saw this I was like, oh, that reminds me so much of that quad. I know the shadows are going to be, you know, finish is going to be different, concentration of pigment is going to be different, Chanel's is going to be lighter overall, but I do think you can accomplish the same type of looks using Bullion. So I definitely will come back to create a look. It just might be in a different video format. Thank you guys for watching. I wonder if some of you guys have picked up some of these palettes already since my first Petite Fool video for the holiday season. See you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.